Welcome to MedGate Today podcast, where business meets innovation in the world of healthcare. From medtech to pharmaceuticals, diagnostics, and medical devices, we bring you the latest insights from the leaders driving the industry's evolution. This is me, Hira Ahmed, your host. Today, we are thrilled to have a visionary in the healthcare sector whose out-of-the-box thinking is shaping the future. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Oshin Agarwal, who combines strong academic credentials with extensive clinical and cosmetic dermatology experience. Her specialties span advanced laser treatments, anti-aging procedures, surgical interventions. She practices primarily in Noida with options for video consultations and has gained recognition from both patients and peers. Hello and welcome to the show, ma'am.
Hello, thank you for having me. Thank you.
So, ma'am, give us a little introduction about you.
Yeah, hi, I'm myself Dr. Oshin Agarwal. I am MBBS MD Dermatology. I am working as a consultant dermatologist at Cosmoshine Skin Clinic in Sector 19, and I'm also associated with Fortis Hospital, Sector 62, Noida.
So, doctor, what's the story behind your personal journey? The defining moments, the edging cut stories that shaped you as a doctor that you are today?
So I think the journey started long back when I was a child, because my parents are doctor too. So I have always wanted to be a doctor. But yeah, for dermatology, my passion started in the late MBBS years when my seniors used to say it's a challenging branch. And then I introduced this subject to me. Then I came to know after the PG, I came to know how exciting this branch is, how new skills, new laser therapies, everything, there are new challenges that we have to face daily. And we meet the patients and there's so much of acknowledgement. So these all things make me happy, and seeing my patients getting the results. So all this may increase my passions towards dermatology. Yeah.
So, ma'am, since you are a dermatologist, we have a few questions for you. Like, what lifestyle habits teenagers should avoid in order to avoid acne?
So for lifestyle in teenagers to avoid acne, I will definitely say lifestyle and diet is the first most important thing if you have to cope up with your acne issues. So first and foremost is your diet. Diet in which we say high glycemic index foods like sugar-based things, dairy consumptions, rice, breads. These should be avoided because they trigger your acne. And you should add antioxidants and omega fatty acids rich fruits into your diet. That can include spinaches, tomatoes, berries, even flax seed, chia seeds, and salmon fish. All these things have rich in omega-3 fatty acids that increases and prevents your inflammatory things. And then secondary, you can add a bit of yogurt, which is act as a probiotic. And you can also think zinc-based products also. In zinc mostly present in legumes, nuts. All these factors helps in reducing acne. And then secondary, you can go for regular exercising, because exercise increases the blood circulation. It improves your skin quality too. Then a proper sleep, because sleep helps in replenishing your skin cells and helps in healing your skin cells. Then lastly, I will say proper hydration and stress management, because if you have a proper daily intake of water, it detoxifies your body, and stress causes almost all skin issues. So it's better to avoid your stress and go for meditations and all. So all these factors helps in coping up with your acne.
So there are so many skin lightening DIYs trending today. So skin lightening DIYs we should not do.
So yeah, I will say skin lightening DIYs, the people are asking me every day. Some are good that we can consider. That can be a cucumber, aloe vera gel, basin on a regular basis, on an alternate, like on a weekly basis you can take. So that helps in removing your dead cell. It mainly acts as an exfoliant. But the DIYs I completely hate are like apple vinegar and this baking soda and citrus fruits, because they completely irritates your skin. They might abrade your skin, or sometimes they itself leads to pigmentation. So don't go for all these things that you can use on your elbows, on your underarms, because they are very sensitive areas. So it's better to avoid all these DIYs.
So since we are in summers right now, the weather is summer. So I would like to ask you that how to select a particular sunscreen for a particular person.
Yeah, actually, when patient comes, they usually say, "Ma'am, the sunscreen we are using is having SPF 50 plus, and it's very good sunscreen." So I say, why are you just looking for that 50? Usually, we have to consider 3 and 4 factors before buying a good sunscreen. First and foremost, yeah, it says SPF. It helps in protecting us from ultraviolet B rays, and it can be between 30 and 50. It doesn't make much difference when you start taking SPF 50 or 70. There's nothing called too much 70 SPF. You can consider SPF between 30 and 50. Second is the PA factor that we don't see. PA factor is the part which helps in protecting from ultraviolet A rays. So that should be between 3 or plus. You always see a sunscreen, there must be written 3 plus or 4 plus. That is PA factor that we have to see. Third, it should be your visible light protection, because nowadays we are always indoors. We are using laptops, you're using phones, LED lights, they all have visible rays. So that also in a longer run they are harmful. So in that case, you have to look for a sunscreen having ferrous oxide or maybe tinted sunscreen that helps in protecting us from these visible light. And lastly and first most important is your skin type. If you have an oily skin, go for something which is water-based, non-comedogenic, gel-based sunscreen. And if you have an dry skin type, you can go for something which is cream-based sunscreen. And combination skin, in that case also, you can go for a cream-based sunscreen. So it's better to select your sunscreen wisely and don't just see a one factor while buying it.
So coming towards a very fancy and you can say a trending topic, that is glutathione, a very trending drug floating all over social media. Is it harmful or helpful?
Yeah, I have seen people are getting interest and gain more interest in glutathione these days. First of all, we need to understand what is glutathione. First of all, glutathione is a protein which is naturally present in our body and it's completely safe. Okay, so what does it do? It's an antioxidant, so it helps in preventing oxidative damage. So for you to get into the knowledge, what is oxidative damage? If you cut a slice of apple and keep it in the air, it will get shriveled, it will get dark. Means when pollution, dust, air comes in contact with our skin also, our skin will start showing some of the damages which we call as aging. So when we start using some antioxidants in our diet, in our lifestyle, so it helps in improving and delaying the signs of aging. So glutathione does that, and it also inhibits the enzyme called tyrosinase, which is a pigment producing enzyme. So in our Indian skin, we have more of the eumelanin, and in people outside, they have more of pheomelanin. Glutathione converts this eumelanin into pheomelanin. So this helps in lightening of our skin. So what this helps in people getting more of attracted towards whitening and these things. So glutathione is completely safe. It's available in the form of tablets also, IV formulations also, and even syrups also. You can take that. Some of the people who are not into favor of going for these, they can take it in a natural diet. It's present in all colored foods, all colored vegetables. Even if you start taking oats, legumes or brown rice, it's rich in selenium. When the level of selenium increases in our body, it increases the level of glutathione. So by these natural sources also you can increase your glutathione levels. But if you want to go for some IV therapies, you can take them too. They are completely safe, but only if you go under the supervision of a dermatologist and after her or his prescription.
So ma'am, 5 food items that fasten skin aging.
Yeah, food and diet is the first most important thing I told you before. But yeah, most important is the sugar. The sugar, what it does, it breaks down our collagen. It breaks down the elastin of our tissue. So it leads to more faster aging. Then comes the role of refined carbohydrates, which can be present in all your fancy junk foods like pastas, white breads. This increases the oiliness of your skin. It increases the breakdown or increase in the breakouts of acne. So there is totally high to acne in that case. Then third comes your processed meats and bacons. These all have rich in nitrates, so increases the puffiness on your face. So you will feel heavy and bloated. And then the fourth comes, it can be your alcohol consumption because it dehydrates your body. So your hair, your skin looks dehydrated in that case. And lastly, I will say this fried foods, though they look they taste very good, but here they increases the oxidative damage and leads to dullness of the skin. So I will say don't try to avoid this sugar, junk foods, oily things. Excessive of anything is wrong. So yeah, I know these things all triggers your signs of aging, acne, so try to avoid these.
So, coming towards the clinical treatment, what are some of the most common skin concerns you see in your clinic today?
Nowadays, because summer is in peak, so most of the time we are able to see all the diseases related to sunburns, even acne. Is this time I'm seeing too much of acne these days, because maybe because of too much of sweating, people keep on touching their face and they don't follow proper skin care, and so that's why maybe your skin products are not up to the mark. So acne is increasing these days, and hair fall is throughout the year, because mostly it's in more in the winters, in the rainy season. But yeah, hair fall is in peak because people they only keep on changing and switching their shampoos. They don't know what is the cause behind their hair fall, the internal causes they just rule out. So yeah, acne and fungal infection is also in peak because of the humidity, moisture, and the people go to gym, they don't change their clothes, they don't keep on wearing it for a longer run. So these things we have to keep in mind, your hygiene, your diet, all these factors. I will say stay hydrated in summers, and please check with your sunscreen and keep BB hydrated, and start taking antioxidants, especially in summers.
So, ma'am, does under eye patches really work? Because it's a very trending thing on social media again.
Yeah, under eye patch for me is just like a cup of tea. Like when you have a cup of tea, it wakens up you up. So same thing under eye does to our eyes. Under eye patches is just to make your skin under the eye look brighten up. So yeah, you can take it just before a party. Like for hyaluronic under eye patch, you can go for hydration if you want under the eye. For like before the party, if you want your dullness and blackness to go, you can use a vitamin C based patches. If there is some puffiness under your eyes, you can use refrigerated caffeine based eye patches. So they do work, but they do work very temporary. There are some retinol based patches. Please don't buy them. They are totally gimmick, and don't go for them. They might irritate your skin. So try not to go for retinol based patches. I will say completely no for that.
And ma'am, Korean skin glass, a very trending topic for skincare enthusiasts. Can you throw some lights over it?
First of all, there is trending Korean glass skin, Korea's glass skin. Only people who are born in Korea, they will get a Korean glass skin. So why not think about Indian glass skin? So why not we want to have an Indian glass skin? For that, it's better to have some few of the steps that we can also follow. So for glass skin, you should always go for moisturizing your skin first. When your skin is well moisturized and hydrated, it will glow on itself. So go for hydrating based food items, go for hydrating based moisturizers, which will help you to make your skin shiny and glowy. In that case, you can add more of the water into your diet, fruits which are rich in water. There are seasonal fruits which are available. There can be serums and moisturizers according to your skin type that you can use. And try for exfoliating your skin once a week, because that helps in removing all the dead cells from cleaning your pores up. And don't forget your sunscreen. Have a proper skincare, because I believe take your skincare until you make it. Because sometimes people start taking a skincare, they don't lose hope within 15 days or 1 month. At least stick to that for at least 3 months. You will get the results, but it's still, until you get the results, stick to one type of skincare. And once it's started showing the results, then keep on taking that. Don't switch your cosmetics or products too often, because your skin get confused and they start reacting in that case. And I told you earlier also, start taking some antioxidants rich in vitamin E, vitamin C, and even your diet also you can add antioxidants that I mentioned before, like in berries, in spinach, tomatoes, because that also helps in removing all oxidative damage, as stress, pollution causing skin. So yeah, these things help in achieving an Indian glass skin.
So many influencers on social media are talking about skincare and health, and how to take care of the skin in 3 simple steps. So according to you, these are the basic skincare routine. Are they suitable for all skin types, or it should be according to the skin type or according to the individual? What should it actually be?
Actually, skincare should always be individualized. Even I will say, even for a person also, skincare changes according to the weather. Okay, if it's summers, your skincare might change in winters as well. But yeah, don't get influenced by these influencers, because they are not board certified dermatologists. I will say, we have to stitch some clothes, we go to a tailor. We will not go to a doctor. In same way, if you want something to be learn about your skin, go to a dermatologist, not for influencers. So yeah, skincare is very important. The basic is the same: cleansing, moisturizing, and SPF in the morning, cleansing, moisturizing, and some serums in the night to heal your skin. But yeah, the moisturizer, the type of sunscreen you are using, the type of cleansers you are using, they will change. They will change according to your age. They will change according to the routine, like in the morning and night. So that even your skin type. So yeah, you have to stick with the sun skincare, which is definitely individualized and customized for you.
Since you spoke about moisturizers and other skincare products like sunscreens, when we talk about serums, what exactly is a serum and how does it differ from creams and moisturizers?
So serum is an add-on treatment, okay? The basic is always moisturizer, sunscreen and the cleanser. But yeah, serums is always good. It's a very basic, thin product. You should always be applied prior to the moisturizer, and it's an add-on effect. Like for example, if you're using a vitamin C serum, it's have an antioxidant property and it can be used at any age. And secondly, if you're using a niacinamide serum, that should be started at the age of mid-20s. It have an anti-inflammatory property, depigmenting property. So it can be used in people who are having acne marks, or even pigmentation issues. People who are using hyaluronic based serums, you can expect a hydration. It can be started at any age. Like glycolic based serums, it can also be started at any age if you have a very dark pigmentation issues, only after dermatologist recommended you. And then also if you have a salicylic based serums, that can also be started at any age, but only if you have blackheads issues and you have an acne issues. And lastly, retinol serums can be started in late 20s or mid 30s. Mainly it helps in rejuvenating your skin, and mainly it's for fine lines, wrinkles and anti-aging properties. So serums can be started at any age. According to your age, you can start using a serum, and according to your skin issues. So they help in mainly treating your problems.
So, ma'am, one more question regarding to skincare. What role does collagen play in maintaining healthy and youthful skin?
Yeah, people do come after glutathione. The second hype topic is collagen. People do come, ma'am, we should take collagen or not? Which form of collagen is best? If it's a powder form or tablet form, or if it's bovine collagen is good or marine collagen is good. So collagen is also a protein which is present in our skin, dermis. It helps in maintaining our skin elasticity. So when we start taking collagen, it improves our hydration, increases our elasticity of the skin. So definitely is anti-aging and it's completely safe. But for me, I will consider powder form is better. And there is two form of collagen, that is bovine and marine. Bovine collagen is basically good for the joints and all, and bovine is very larger molecule. It's not get absorbed that in our body. For marine collagen is a smaller molecule. It's basically good for the skin. So go for marine collagen when you are buying. People have come with me, shown me some of the products labeled with vegetarian collagen or vegan collagen. There's nothing called vegan collagen, because collagen can only be derived from animals. So there's nothing called vegetarian. So don't go for all these gimmicks, because it's just a fake thing just to attract you or saying you to for the non-vegetarian people to buy it. So it's completely a non-vegetarian thing. But yeah, I will consider that you can buy a collagen powder, and usually recommended like 1.5 to 2.5 grams of collagen per day you can take to boost up your elasticity and improve your hydration of the skin, and it's completely recommended. Yeah.
So this was for all the vegetarians out there. So what message would you like to give to the young dermatologists who are entering in this field?
I will say don't take dermatology just for the cosmetology, because if you skip one step, you have to start the journey all over again. Be passionate about dermatology first, learn your subject well, and then you can go into cosmetology, because cosmetology will never treat your patients. Dermatology, the basic science behind the skin should be known first. Your treatment is always be considered and given to your patient, and you can only treat your patient on the basis of your dermatology of your subject. And then cosmetology little add glimpse and have like beauty to your patients. Yeah, you can go for the cosmetology later, and be passionate about this branch, because it's very beautiful branch.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for sharing your valuable time and insights with us. Thank you, viewers. So that was Dr. Roshan Agarwal for us, who is doing wonders in the field of skincare and healthcare. Thank you.